You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications button so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live.
I see the world. I see so much suffering, wars, pollution, famine, cruelty, abuse, etc., etc. And they keep on going and saying that it is normal. I think it is sick. I was the first one to tap into the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system and the immune system. Now, if you are able to tap into the immune system to the level of the autonomic nervous system, then you have a much greater control over that what causes disease. Before they asked me to be injected with the E. coli bacteria, same model, they became all sick. 16,134 people. The average all sick. And then I came and I became not sick at all. I want to climb the Kilimanjaro in 3 days with 26 people with all kinds of diseases like cancer, arthritis, Crohn's disease, ulcerosis, asthma, and all that in 3 days in shorts. That's what I said. And then all these doctors, all these physiologists, all these experts in alpinism, they came and said, all these arguments. Oh, it's irresponsible. You cannot do this. People are going to die. We didn't do it in 3 days. We did it in 2 days. All successful. And the oldest person in the first ascent was 65 years with 4 coronary bypasses. And he did it too. She kissed him goodbye and then she jumped from 8 stories down. That is what she did. And because she was suffering from mental disorder, schizophrenia, manic depression, and the whole psychiatry, the world of psychiatry, through all the injections and pills and this and that. If I would have had that knowledge back then with my wife, then I could have treated her naturally. But I had no power then. But I pledged my oath to my wife. If I'm able to get out of this grief, to get out of where you have been, then I will show the world and all the people who are suffering mentally, I will be able to pass on a natural way of how to get out of your grief.
Boom, we're on.
Hey!
Yes.
Here we are.
And today's guest, we've got the Iceman himself, Wim Hof.
Hey, right on, man.
How are you, brother?
Right on. Yeah, great. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And this is my place, as you see, and I will show you around later. But I like your accent a lot. I like the Scotsmans.
Yeah.
I like the Scotsman, and they say I take the high road and what is that?
I don't
what
even
is the
know.
low road?
I don't even know.
I think I take them both to be sure to reach Scotland.
Yeah.
And I think, of Scotland, I always thought about it's the heart. Mm-hmm. It's the heart. It's like the bagpipes. When you feel the bagpipes, you have no fear. You feel you can keep on going.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel. I want to go to a fearless state of my mind because I'm in the soul. Mm-hmm. That's where I want to go.
You're changing lives, brother. You've done phenomenal things. You've broke over 20 records, world records. You've changed science. You've changed people's opinion of you. You've really went within to make mass changes. And I love that shit. I'm going to be honest. I totally love that. I've been a massive fan of yourself over the last 5 years. We do a lot of cold water exposure in Scotland, all because of yourself. A lot of people struggling with suicide, addictions, people who are battling. You get into the cold water and it takes your pain away for some reason. It's cold as fuck. You lose your testicles, but it's a beautiful thing.
And I have to say, cold water is also good for sex life. So, it's fucking good, as they say,
But you've done amazing things, brother, and first of all, proud of you. But I always go back to the start with my guests, where you grew up and how it all began.
I grew up we are here in the Netherlands right now. Netherlands, just the other side of the Northern Sea. That's where I grew up, near the German border. 1 kilometer from the German border, 12 kilometers from the Belgian border. That means the most narrowest place of the Netherlands, 12 kilometers wide. And there I was born of a family of nine kids, mom, pop. And my father, he worked in the mines, so there was very little money. My mother was like a hen on the eggs, always keeping it real. She always said, act normal, it's crazy enough. And I did that. I loved my mother very much. So we had a little money, but a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun because we played, all of us, and my mother and my father included, a lot of games. Hey, the Highland games. We got the lowland games. There is the low road, you know? Because they say, in French, they say the Netherlands is the Pays Bas. That is the land low, the lowlands. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun. Yeah. That's it. And that, I think it served the rest of my life.
A loving family.
Yeah, a loving family.
You're a twin, but your mum didn't know.
Yeah.
You were
coming? When I was born, nobody knew that there were no echoscopia, instruments, mechanisms, devices. It was all not there. So they did not detect another one when my twin brother was born. He was the child to be born, and the rest was contractions after. And it was not. It was another child. And then they hurried me, because it was almost too late, to the operation room. And just before entering into the operation room, my mother, who was a pious mother, naive but very strong in her convictions and her beliefs, she said, "Oh God, let this child live. I will make him a missionary." That's what she said in all her agony, in the pain, because they were going to cut into her to get me out. And that fear and that belief pushed me out before I entered into the operation room in the cold of the hall, suffocated almost, purple. And then those words, they must have tattooed upon that little nothing that came out. And it made me different of my twin brother, identical, but I was always seeking for something different. Always different. When I was 12, I was into psychology, Hinduism, Buddhism, esoteric disciplines, yoga, and in those times, that was all unknown. Why is that? Because I had a drive I did not know about within myself, but it colored my life. It was there, and I had to live. I had to go for it. And it took me 5 years, from 12 to 17, when I found cold water in attraction. I was debating and philosophizing again within myself, like I always did. I was a big debater when I was 15, 16, 17. A lot I did. And then I found this attraction to the cold water that day in winter. And then entering into the water, in a Sunday morning, I felt this is it. There's not words, but this is it, is a feeling. It's like tilt, it's electrified, something like that. And I felt powerful, playing with the eyes around me, and I felt no pain. That was connection. And that connection brought me back the other day, and it gave me a rush every day since. And very soon I began to find out that deep breathing impacts that made me able to stay longer in the freezing water. I did that for 25 times every time. And then I became very electrified. Carbon dioxide fully out. With the cold, you really go deep. And I could stay for 5 to 7 minutes every day under the ice.
Was that your like getaway, Wim? To
Oh,
take
yeah.
you to another
Sure.
place? How did people treat you at schooling when you were learning yoga and
Oh, yeah.
meditation and breathing? Were you
No,
built-
I always have been they call it a black sheep.
Mm-hmm.
I've been always the black sheep. Now I'm the whitest sheep ever. You know. Now I can show that everybody, hey man, where that guy began, who was different than anybody else, and now he is able to change science as a dropout from school. But it all began when I was young. I always felt different and timid, like within myself, and being pushed therein. And my family, which was poor, like mining, my father was a miner, and then he became invalid because of hernias. He could not work anymore. So the money was even smaller. And then 9 children. That is classic disaster if you don't rule well over that. But that's my mother. My mother was the greatest. Thing is, when you have a little money and you are different, then you have no way to express yourself. You don't know what's happening. But the trauma of my birth had made my stigma, my chains within. My psyche was different, and I did not know how to connect or have control over that. I didn't know what happened at the time of my birth. My mother later told me everything. But when you begin to do differently things because you feel so, then everybody begins to stigmatize you and say, he is doing strange things. He's no good. You don't mingle with him. Just keep him outside and all. That becomes a real force because you feel like alone.
alone or crazy?
Alone. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And but I went on anyway. And when I was 17, I lived in Amsterdam in a squatting place. I had no money. Squatting place, no money, just for gas and electricity, like less than 50 euros a month. I had no wages, no money. I got money there, a little bit here, and working there, things like that. But a very happy place. Why? Because it was a building, a squatting place with free thinkers. People who are not into careers and all that. No, they settle there and being together, much more together. The world out there is too individualized, competing, following protocol, following a set of regulations instead of living. But there I was, 17, found myself into the water that Sunday morning, and I felt connection, deep connection. And that deep connection made me go since then, and that is 44 years ago when I started with my ice bathing, going into the cold, finding a deep connection with the physiology in the depth 44 years ago. And that since then, I did it every day. Like this morning, I was 20 minutes here in the barrel. It's full of ice. I got a freezer. I made chopped ice, get it in, mingle it. It's a soup, and then it becomes really cold. I go in 20 minutes. I love it. I did it. Then I felt this is it. Began to develop very soon. I developed breathing exercises because for the first time you feel the need to breathe deep. When you go into cold water, it is that is logical, but we in society, we live shallow, in shallow breathing, because there is no need, there is no forces, environmental stress coming to you, so you learn to just breathe shallow. And that creates a lot of disconnection of the deeper physiology, which is logical. If you don't feed yourself in the depth, then it's not fat. Then it doesn't grow. That is connection. It's all neurology in the end and the hormonal system. Now we know, but before I did not know. I was driven through my trauma from my birth. And then I got connection. And then, of course, everybody was saying, that man is crazy. He is going into freezing water in the winter. And he is walking out for hours outside, barefoot in the snow. He's doing all kinds of exercises. He is crazy. This is not normal. He must be out of his mind and all that. But I just felt good. So whenever you feel good, it's like when you love somebody, even if the whole family, Romeo and Juliet, are against each other making war, they still want to be together.
Yeah. I think that's a powerful message as well, because I watch so many of your videos, guys like David Goggins, Joe Dispenza, whether he's running 200 miles while you're swimming underwater, holding your breath in ice cold waters. Joe Dispenza says he fixed his spine as well. When you actually break it all down, it just comes down to the power of the mind and what you believe up here. Do you think having that trauma from birth and then kind of being the outsider all your life, did you ever question that maybe I am crazy and that I'm going to take a step back, or did it just feel so right for you? You were so connected that I don't give a fuck what anyone says. This is me, accept me, or get the fuck out my way.
Yeah, exactly. Get the fuck out of my way, but let the love come in. And the love came in. And the only thing that made sense to me, when I was 12, I made a pledge to myself. I see the world, I see so much suffering, wars, pollution, famine, cruelty, abuse, etc., etc. And they keep on going and saying that it is normal. I think it is sick. So I pledged there within myself, deeply within myself, I'm going to do something about it. What? I did not know. But I followed it. So, and I kept on being so different and so suppressed because of that. And now look at where the world is, in full of confusion. It's polluted. And what we don't have love, because what we give to our children is production, not nature. Production, not health. Production, not happiness. Production, and more, and exploiting at the cost of others. And that is not love. So we don't love our children because we are forced to be in a system that is parasiting upon our energy, and we don't no longer know what is real love, the purpose of life anymore. And this is the crisis within the world. And I tell you, because me talking like this, everybody was saying, yeah, he's a hippie or something. And then I said, okay, let the scientists come. Hey, I will show that I can beat disease. I can show how to beat inflammation. I can show how to beat that what causes depression. I can beat all these things. I can train the best of the world to become better within 1 week than the ceiling where they have been, being the best in the world, like Olympics, MMA fighters. They all come, and within a week, I make them better. Why? Because we always lived according a certain kind of thinking paradigm, which has come from the schools. And in the schools, they teach you about history, about language, about mathematics, but they should actually teach our children to be happy and strong and healthy. And that is the core and the essence. And they forgot about it, and they don't know about it. And I'm a dropout of school, but I change science fundamentally. I will, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The schooling is I don't believe in the schooling, the curriculum at school, because you're told to sit at a desk from 9 till 3 years old, and then you go into an office 9 till 5, you're there 60 years. Yeah. You should be about love, compassion, yoga, meditation, breathing techniques, how to handle money, relationships, even death. We don't speak about death enough, because when someone dies, it spirals us out of control. We then mask it with alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, overeating, anger. Is to try and understand that this is life. Shit does happen, but we are in control in how we handle it afterwards. Life can be beautiful. The prime example. We're all a bit little loopy. Every single person is, and people who judge and call you crazy, that's the ones who really need the love, because then it's a reflection of image. People get scared of other people's success. People get scared of how far other people can go to the extremes. So they then question it, why can't I do that? But everybody can, no matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 70s or 80s, whatever age you are, you can make changes to better your life, to become a better person, to make the people around you become better. Life is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's a little fucked up. I do have my moments where I think, what the fuck is this about? What am I doing here? But I know what I'm doing is creating awareness. Having men like yourself on is creating more awareness. And yes, it's beautiful. And for what you've achieved is second to none. But this is only the beginning, because you always raise the bar. You always set new heights to keep proving people wrong. And I think that's where you strive more, when people say that you can't do it. So when you started going through your transition at 17 and understanding the ice is where I feel alive, what was the process of your life like then after that?
After I just began to do this, that what makes me feel good, I will keep on doing. It's like they say, you are a donkey. I don't feel the ears. I don't feel a tail. And what I do makes me feel good. So I think you also, maybe sneakingly or whatever, you do what makes you feel good. Only it could collide with the regulations. It could collide with the way we are taught to be. That could be a collide with. But my thing is, what I do is like natural drugs. If you go into the cold is my teacher. It's merciless but righteous. And it gives me all the energy afterwards. It trains my cardiovascular system, which is 100,000 kilometers inside everybody of us. Killer number one in our society's cardiovascular related diseases still. And how can you tackle it? I say, just keep it simple. Cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. But back then, I just felt it. From I was 17, I did all the cold practices every day, every winter. And then at a certain moment, I was doing 5 to 7 minutes under the ice, breathing exercises. They really brought me into the depth. And then I discovered the secrets of our neurology, the electricity system of ours, the nervous system, and how to work with it. All what they talk about in these esoteric books of the yoga, of the chakras, and the mystical ways and all. When I was reading it, I don't get any of it because I don't experience it. It's there. It must be somewhere. 20 years of training. No, it took me a couple of months to get really into myself, into the deepest, into all the lights, all the chakras, all the mysticism. And from there, of course, that practice, I never let go. I always practiced. I always did that. And then I combined it with stretching, like splits, and staying a whole night outside in shorts in wintertime. Just finding out, following my feeling. And brought me, when I was 23 or 22, I met my wife, my future wife. And that she was, not only pretty, she was amazingly vivid and very expressive and talkative and just a beautiful being. You fall in love and you fall and you keep on falling and you want to go and you fly. That's where I met her. And a year later, she was gone first, 3/4 of a year, and then we met again. And from there, a year we lived without sex. And then suddenly, boom, there, and 4 times sex, I had my oldest son. You probably know him through the mail or something. But he is now working with me. With that woman, I only had 50 times sex during 15 years. That is very little.
Why is that?
Why? Because it was enough.
Connection?
A connection was bloody there. And it's not based in too much sex or porn or this or that. It was fulfilled in whatever way it was. I had 4 children with her. Within the 15 times sex, 4 children. And that was good. I felt always full. Later, I had different relationships. I had sex every day, so 3 times a day. Hey man, I can whatever I feel, I follow.
Yeah.
So 15 years I was with that woman until the day when she jumped from after kissing her 4 children goodbye from the age of 7 to 12 years. She kissed them goodbye, and then she jumped from 8 stories down. That is what she did. And because she was suffering from mental disorder, schizophrenia, manic depression, and the whole psychiatry, the world of psychiatry, through all the injections and pills and this and that, because it was declining a mental state of years before. Like 10 years after we had 4 children, and then 10 years after the first was born, 31, the decline began. She went to the doctors, etc. Nobody could help her. And that is a very important point in my life, because I lost a love of my life, the mother of my children, the one with whom I should have been all my life. She went away. I was broken inside, but I had no time nor to heal, nor to sit there with my grief, because I had 4 children, very little money left behind. There I was. And I always say my children made me survive. The cold healed me, because the cold, the intense pain of going into freezing water makes you shut up in your mind. Makes you survive. That was the only moment I got stillness in my mind. Only possibility to get peace in my mind. And that broke the loop. That broke the loop of the grief, of the grieving. And thus I began to regain myself. Became very energetic. A lot of energy. I became Papa and Mama. From 35 years on, that is 26 years ago. And yes, a lot of energy with the kids, being little money, and trying. I began to ride, began to garden, began to become a mountain guide. I did, and there the challenges came. And when the challenges came, I said to the television, who came to me first, through a newspaper article where I said, I go into the ice all the time because I love it and I love do exercising and all this. Nobody believed it, and they got it into the newspaper. And then television came. And television is crazy because they begin to challenge you. So when they challenged me, I could do everything. I got 26 world records, but numerous more challenges done. And they are all led to the extremes of what a mind and a body is able to do, even past what in science was thought possible, physiologically possible. So I did all these television shows, the National Geographic, Discovery Channel, and more. I don't know. I probably have done 50 to 100 documentaries now. From BBC to the 2020 to National Geographic, whatever. I did it all. But now they are going to make a Hollywood film next year.
Love it.
On top. Why is that? That is because I gained to something. 3 years ago, I was in Detroit in the brain scans. And they gave me cold water upon the skin. I could do nothing. Just use my mind. And I made the skin temperature not going down. That is the power of the mind having physical consequences in the body to defy stress coming in, just using the mind. This was unknown in psychiatry. If I would have had that knowledge back then with my wife, then I could have treated her naturally. But I had no power then. But I pledged my oath to my wife. If I'm able to get out of this grief, to get out of where you have been, then I will show the world and all the people who are suffering mentally, I will be able to pass on a natural way of how to get out of your grief, how to bring your spouse or husband out of there and be a good parent.
Yeah. Was that your breaking point then, Will, when you lost the love of your life, thinking you could have went two ways, either went the same way,
easy,
or I'm going to push myself to the extreme limits now. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, I watch a lot of inspirational people. When you actually break it all down, they have all felt severe trauma where they think, fuck it, and just push themselves to the extreme limits. I don't know if that's to maybe block out some of the pain still.
Yeah, sure.
Or to maybe find the answers. How is it now for you to, when you know the information and looking back thinking, because I believe pharmaceutical kill more people than any other drug in the world. So how does it feel now knowing that you know some answers to how to change the mindset, to control your temperature? Some people have cured cancer, some people have cured depression, addictions through cold water exposure. Now you have this information. How does it feel looking back, thinking that people are getting lied to take this, but yet your wife still committed suicide? First of all, I was what to say as well. Sorry for your loss.
You come from Scotland, and I know that the film with Mel Gibson,
Braveheart,
who's an Australian. Give me back my son, or the freedom in Scotland, and we fight, all those things. This is what happens when a simple man is being broken down and has to kneel for the train of every day keep on going while he lost his wife and why and he could not do anything. A man like that can be touched so deeply that he is going to find the answers the whole world of psychiatry and medical care and the whole system is incapable of. And that is not science through schooling. Because I'm a dropout, but I'm teaching psychiatrists, doctors, professors all over the world. Why? Because I had a genuine broken heart. I had a genuine simple mind just to be happy and strong and healthy and take care of my children. And they didn't let me. The society didn't let me. And it has no name and it has no person. You cannot talk to it, but it is still ongoing. So I did something about it. And how? I did not know. But I began to rise and began to walk my steps little by little. And when the television came, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you climb Mount Everest in your shorts? Can you swim under the ice, big distances? Can you run a marathon beyond the polar circle? I can do it all, because compared to a grieving heart, it is nothing.
Yeah, powerful stuff, brother. So because you went to Kilimanjaro and you took people who were ill, people who could hardly walk and stuff, and you
amazing what I can teach now.
How long did it take to teach them to go this walk?
Just 4 afternoons. Imagine. Take the comparison. What physiologically is possible in mountaineering, and say the Kilimanjaro, which is almost 6 kilometers high, takes about 5 to 9 days, fully dressed, with a lot of layers, because it's very cold up there. Yeah? And then still it takes 5 to 9 days, and then only 40% will succeed. Summit. Yes? Those are the numbers. We did it, and we did it in 20 and a half hours. That is 4.5 hours more than 1 day, in shorts. And wait a minute, and not only me, the oldest participant, without former experience in mountaineering, suffering from Lyme's disease, he did it in 31 hours in his shorts. He has no Lyme's disease anymore. He has a deep connection inside. He used his mind consciously and his breathing. And he did it. 76 years old, suffering from Lyme's disease, in shorts, no former experience in mountaineering. He did it. He's healing a lot of people with Lyme's disease right now because he found this deep connection. How many days did I train with him? 4 afternoons. And I say, you better do your homework. That means you do some running and you go and challenge yourself. Follow your feeling because the Kilimanjaro is going to come. Yeah. And it's going to kill you. It's going to torture you if you didn't do well within your homework. And they all understood. Yeah. It was not only here, there were people with cancer, there were people with Crohn's disease, arthritis, with asthma, with depression, all. One thing in common they had, that was motivation, that there is more than meets the eye. Mm-hmm. And they all did it.
Amazing. So why do you think, what's your opinion, why do you think depression's on the rise, addictions, suicide, heart attacks is on the rise, cancer's on the rise?
It's logical. Suicide, for example. A lot of people want to commit suicide. They alienated so much of their own life force. They are like not living. Something is pulling them out of the consciousness, the awareness of their own life force. This is the way our society got us into televisions, into cars, into traveling, into always out. Amen. Inside there is an unconditional power that makes you not need anything or need very little. That inner peace exists. It's no longer a mystical experience. It is, but it's not far away. It is here and now. And here we got it. And the margin therein is enormous. You can keep the bullshit really out of you. Because we did the science now. We did the science and showed how to connect with the depth of our brain. And once you are able to go into the deepest of the brain consciously, then where else can you not go? Yeah. We have not learned how to own our own mind. And now we bring this to the people. And you do this through this platform, through the urge, the instinctive urge to bring life itself to the people. And remember them through very interesting people all over the world who have gone their mile, past their fear, into the unknown, which should be known. Because mysticism is not about thinking, it's about feeling. And you should feel tremendously good every day, because that's who you are by birthright. So there we are, bringing it here. Like in the beginning of the conversation, we have no structure. We have no protocols. We don't follow a question, number one question. It pops up. And we just go with our thinking into this mystical experience where there is no thinking, where all the answers are there. So no questions anymore.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Yes, sir.
So when the TV started coming along, newspapers, magazines, radio, did they ever try and embarrass you at the start or ridicule you?
Oh yeah, in the beginning, of course, they called me the ice rabbit. In the beginning, yeah. Before that, the crazy man, and an idiot. And one who's is shouting out so much is all not good. They tried, many of them. Let me tell you. This is a story that exemplifies the way it was. So I sat out in public saying, I want to climb the Kilimanjaro in 3 days with 26 people. With all kinds of diseases like cancer, arthritis, Crohn's disease, ulcerosis, asthma, and all that in 3 days in shorts. That's what I said. And then all these doctors, all these physiologists, all these experts in alpinism, they came and said, all these arguments. Oh, it's irresponsible. You cannot do this. People are going to die. It takes 5 to 9 days. And fully dressed. If you have no clothes, it's too cold up there. There is no oxygen. Less than half. People are going to die, especially people with cancer and arthritis. What are you doing? Irresponsible. We are not going to link with this expedition whatsoever. Don't do it. Arguments, arguments, arguments. We didn't do it in 3 days. We did it in 2 days. All successful. And the oldest person in the first ascent was 65 years with 4 coronary bypasses. And he did it too. Hey man, when I came back in the Netherlands, I did not hear anybody. And there is really no problem with my hearing. When I went back in the Netherlands, I did not hear any of those doctors who had millions of arguments why it was to show why it was all not good and irresponsible, based on scientific arguments and logic. And now I did not hear them. They at least could have sat and asked, how did you pull it off? This is unknown. This is amazing. Of course, those arguments are legit, but what you guys have done must be then outside of what is scientifically discovered. Because 65 years old, 4 coronary bypasses, going in 3 days in shorts, up Kilimanjaro to 6 kilometers. Cancer and Crohn's disease and arthritis. Oh, the joints. No, they felt great. At least they could have asked, how did you pull it off? Possibly there are a number of answers of what we are capable of and what we do not know in science up till now to solve problems which we have, like arthritis, Crohn's disease, ulcerative, coronary bypasses, cancer. We don't know the answers. And here you go with them and do it in record time. Into the unknown, because it was not known before. I said 3 days. It became 2 days. In 48 hours. That was the first ascent I did with a group of people. And that's the way people are. When then you come back and you show that all those arguments do not count in that, then you really rumble the foundations of their beliefs. Then they become fearful. Then they are not able to get you. So that's what I found out.
Did no one ever come forward to apologise and say sorry
No.
for calling you crazy?
No.
Sorry for doubting your methods?
Exactly, no.
No one.
And there
How
is
did
more.
that make you feel?
Man, this makes me...
Does that give you the fire to keep pushing forward?
Exactly. Yes, of course. Of course. And I will keep on. I know my enemy. My enemy is ignorance. Ignorance and a careless being. And I will not succumb to it. I'm not attacking it. I think people have a rightful right to be that way if they like to. I just keep on going to show a non-dogmatic, scientifically endorsed method that makes people able to reach their deeper self no matter what. Really endorsed by experience, science, and sense. And there I am, there I stay. I know now my enemy. I know my enemy will backfire at me first or attack me. And then when I prove them wrong, they will be not there. Because they flee like the rats.
Yeah.
Because that's the real true nature
That's what
of that
that's what
beast.
weak people do, though. Do you become a threat then, Wim? See, for the man who's changing science, for the man who's creating nature to be your medicine to help cure people, help people. When you were getting injected by a virus, did you ever question that? What if they were trying to kill you, or what if people were out to get you? Because potentially you become a threat for the pharmaceutical companies who make billions per year, trillions. So
I think they are cowards. They are cowards, and they got maybe money, but they are cowards by themselves.
But did you ever question that?
Yeah, of course I did. The first time I was on television, National Report, like the journal of the day, saying I was the first one to tap into the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system and the immune system. Now, if you are able to tap into the immune system to the level of the autonomic nervous system, then you have a much greater control over that what causes disease. So I possibly at that moment was a great danger. Not anymore, because now millions of people, you got to kill millions of people doing this method now. And that's it. But back then, I was the first one to show in medical history to tap into the autonomic nervous system and immune system. That means the perspective of what we as humans at will are able against a disease has completely changed. That means a lot of clients will go from the pharmaceutical dependency. It will go there from. And I tell you, we are the future now. And the future should be sane. And even the pharmaceuticals are people. So if they have a real sense of, we are here to heal people, that's why we make medicine. I heal people. I don't need medicine. Maybe medicine still exists, and all the, orthopedic instruments and things like that. We cannot do all, but I go for all. I think nature has got the answers. I found a way, and I'm now working with the top researchers in the world on the DNA to show that the building stones of life itself we are able to influence, which was considered to be not done. Back then, the first time when I was on the journal, the other day, I rode with my bicycle through Amsterdam, and there I got this image that there is a man there on the roof, and he pops, poop, and look, that's a drunk man on the street. Mm-hmm. And then the so-called paramedics, not the real ones, just a scheme.
The man in black?
Yeah, the man in black. And they just throw me in a car and ditch me somewhere. And he was gone, he is gone, and that's it. They should have done that. Yeah. That moment, but not anymore, because now
too far gone.
I'm too far gone. I'm like a virus but in this case a positive one.
Yeah.
You got to kill it in the beginning.
It's just spread.
It's spread all over.
Yeah. So how does that make you feel then, knowing that now it's scientifically proven that you are changing lives, you are creating the chemistry in your body, changing the temperature, changing the neurons, and pushing yourself to the limits? When you also got the virus, when you got the bacteria injected into you,
E. coli.
Yeah, what was the method behind this?
Yeah, this is called a endotoxemia experimental model in science, to get to know more, gain more knowledge over what is the immune system in people. Can we get more knowledge, more control? And so they did 16,134 test subjects, experimented with the endotoxin. Endotoxin is an E. coli, part of an E. coli bacteria. E. coli bacteria causes nausea, uncontrolled shivering, severe headaches, severe back aches, muscle aches, all over agony, and fever, also vomiting. Yeah, and in this experimental model, you become sick for 3 to 6 hours. That's it. But so 16,134 people, before they asked me to be injected with the E. coli bacteria, same model, they became all sick. 16,134 people. They average all sick. And then I came and I became not sick at all. Not sick. But then they said, but you are the Iceman. You have trained your body so different. Even your ice accomplishments, they are impossible to do in our physiology, the way we see that as medics. But you are doing it because you are an anomaly. You are outside. You're superhuman. Whatever you are not representing the humans as it is in the physiology. And I said, no, everybody is able to do this. And then finally they said, okay, let's have a group and see. That would be groundbreaking and never been shown in medical history, how to enter into the immune system and enter into the autonomic nervous system. That is unprecedented. So, but they got the curiosity because I did it. I showed the blood results and the diagrams and everything. The graphics completely different, off the chart. So then they gave me a group and another group, a control group, who did my training within 4 days. When they came in the hospital receiving the E. coli bacteria, and this once again is after 16,134 people having becoming all sick, severely sick for 3 to 6 hours. My group of 12 people trained in 4 days. No, 100% score, no sickness, no disease, no symptoms, all low. And then they looked inside the blood and they saw them all within a quarter of an hour after the injection of E. coli bacteria, which causes deep inflammation, which is the same with COVID-19, by the way. And I have checked the numbers of the damaging factor of the COVID-19, which is interleukins, inflammatory markers. Those are number 1, number 6, number 8, and number 11 are responsible for the damage. And those all begins with symptoms. Now, within a quarter of an hour, those 12 were able to bring down the inflammation caused by the E. coli bacteria. See what we can do with the COVID-19. We don't need vaccines. We need proper breathing.
So that's how you beat it then, from breathing techniques?
Yes, sir.
We do a lot of breathing techniques in Scotland, me, my friend Gerald and James. Sometimes when I done the breathing techniques, though, I felt as if I was getting angry. Is that triggering a lot of stuff within?
Oh, yeah, man.
Do I need to push through that?
Biochemical. It's all biochemical. And we talked a little bit before this conversation about DMT. The DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is a deep drug inside of our head. Through the breathing techniques, you're also able to activate that. So whatever is the trauma inside dimethyltryptamine is there to solve it, to go to the trauma, and whatever that was, doesn't matter. Anger is another one. But in the end, if you go back, it's biochemical. It's all biochemical neurotransmitters suddenly being released, making you angry. A serotonin makes you feel nice. Dopamine makes you feel great. Wow, nice. It's all drugs, man. It's inside. And we are able to tap into that pharmacy, which is in our head, connected to the whole of the body. Yeah. Once you know how to, when you take a acid, a trip, it's just a little thing. Mm-hmm. No, it's only a trigger. But now, through the breathing techniques, righteously done, you are able to trigger the area of the amygdala, of the hippocampus, of the periaqueductal, etc. All those great places where the pharmacy of ours is existent. But we have never learned how to connect with our will with that. And now I found the ways. I found the ways driven by my wife going down, 8 stories down, through the grief. I had to handle and learn how to deal with my own grief because I had to serve 4 children. That is my drive. That is the way I use my drugs, to heal myself. And now I know how to heal others. To bring others to the same ability to trigger themselves into the depth. So whenever you feel anger or this or that, man, it's coming to the surface. Now keep on doing the breathing because the nature of your biochemistry and your will is to heal, to work it out. And it should be done within 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We spoke about ayahuasca earlier. I done an ayahuasca documentary. A lot of people ask me about it, but I'm still unsure about it because I just felt, I believe changes can be made within. I believe a lot of people's been through more trauma than me, but still do a lot better than me in life, that are more happier than me. There was a documentary that I was supposed to do next year. It was to be in a dark room for 7 days, just pure darkness, all black. They says when you're in the room for after 3-4 days, the brain will release the DMT, and that's the natural chemical.
Exactly.
Without taking it externally.
Yes.
It's a powerful one, this. I never really knew much about it until a few months ago when I seen somebody else doing it. in a dark room, 7 days, just pure darkness, and then you eventually see life's true purpose. It's some deep shit. But that's natural. That's not drinking teas and plants.
I believe you completely.
So
You got it.
Try this next year.
Yeah, that's great. And I just did apparently people around me did a documentary with my techniques and naming it, Wim Hof this and that, together with Strassman, Professor Strassman, who is the expert on DMT in the world. Among that, ayahuasca and ibogaine and psychedelics like that triggers the deeper images in the subconscious. And now you are talking about the darkness. That is a way, because our daily eyesight is taking a lot of energy. So if that is going on, then the deeper part of your brain is consumed. All the energy gets into the eyesight. But if you close your eyes and you do that long enough, then that energy, it's not consumed anymore. It goes to the deeper areas of the brain. And then it is able to release. Now, through these breathing techniques, we are able to bring energy into those areas. We have seen in brain scans in Germany, in Hanover, people doing these breathing techniques, making not 16% at will of the brain activated, but 100% neural activity through doing these breathing techniques. That means that all the parts in our brain suddenly are nourished. And that means that the nature of our mind is to solve things, not to be in a narrowed mind, a consciousness of the mind, which is only capable of, having a lot of our brain on standby. No, when you have deep trauma, and this is what we should teach the children in school, to never get accumulating trauma and to have it stay there for 30 years or 40 years, consuming or blocking the quality of your life, the depth of your life, and influencing it for the bad. And it's like something is stored. It wants to come out. So we never knew the ability. And now we found through these breathing techniques, whenever you feel that there is shit going on, deep shit, and you do not even know it, but you suspect it to be, get into the breathing. Get into the breathing, get 100% score neural activity done. It happens. They have compared these breathing techniques with the result in the brain scan to see what kind of activity and what areas of the brain are being activated. So people doing this breathing for 10 minutes, they activate deeper parts of the brain than people doing 4 hours of mindfulness for years. So the shit works, but you have to make it work within yourself. And we are built to be able to tap into the deepest of our brain anytime when it's needed. Sometimes when there is danger, we get a shock, something is happening, and it's a confusion, the short circuit, and the trauma. And then you cannot handle that in that dangerous situation. You are able to get out of the situation. And then you should be able to get into the trauma and work it out. But we have never learned how to do that. And now we found this way. And this I want, again, I'm into the studies with the people who are doing work on the top researchers on the DNA and on depression. It's now going to get to the outer, so everybody is able to see that we found the keys, but you got to open the door yourself.
As human beings, though, we don't like to feel uncomfortable. We don't like to feel pain, so we just mask it even more. We just wrap ourselves around like an onion and we don't want to feel no more pain. So for people who maybe are struggling and how do you need to face the pain to heal it? Do you need to accept it?
Yes, but there is no force involved. You can go gradually, and we have innate capacities. We are born with them to deal with whatever comes to us. So the last explanation was quite good. Like, I never explained it this way, But it comes out because this is a new conversation. And it's a nice conversation, by the way. It's a good one. It's common sense. And here we get into issue solving, where psychiatrists still are groping in the dark. They still need some DMT to understand that the shit is in and not in analytics and this and pills and injections. It's all not, it's inside. So we have the capacity to take on trauma when something really bad happens to us and still get out of the situation which caused it. That is the danger. We get into the brainstem. When the danger happens, adrenaline comes, and the trauma to our person, because it was all too overwhelming, we could not understand. It shattered our belief and everything. It's really too much. It's like an imprint, and bang, inside. You can't do anything than to receive it. But you still have the ability to get out. And then you should be able to work it out. And for that, we got these breathing techniques. And these, when I got people begin to cry, to yell, they see faces, they are all kinds of things. And what am I? I'm a simple man who has come from a suicide of his wife, whom he loved, with 4 children, and they're being left alone. I just tried to get out of that hole, out of that trauma. And that taught me something that is not in the books. And now I teach the psychiatrists and I show the brain scans that we have a much greater possible control at will to tap into our brain and to deal with the trauma, whatever it is.
Yeah. When did you start getting the recognition? Well, when did you start feeling that, okay, what I'm doing is right? Because you must have questioned it yourself, even though it felt right for you. You must have felt, what if I'm fucking crazy? What if I'm doing is wrong? Because I still question everything. I'm in a good place. I'm drink-free. I'm drug-free. I'm gambling-free. It feels right for me, but sometimes I question it that, what if I'm talking shit?
Yeah.
What if everything I'm doing, I'm talking shit? When did you start getting the recognition that this man is pushing himself to limits and creating mass changes in the world?
That it is, James. Thing is, I never questioned really myself. And even though I was considered to be a crazy man, an idiot, and all these things, I kept on doing what I was doing. Because what I was doing was not based on thinking, on pondering or philosophizing. We're just going into the bloody ice cold water for too long a time, according to the physiological laws. And then I found deeper realities, logical, because I had to survive. And I felt I could survive. And I'm an investigator of life. I think everybody in nature, in this spiritual nature, is an investigator to see what life really is all about. But we lost this connection through all this schooling and too much thinking. But I was not, my feelings were not based in thinking. It was out of practice, going every day like I go to my love. I go to my practice. And that for 44 years, I've been doing that without questioning myself, ever. And then people say that I'm crazy. Man, I'm sitting here an hour in cold water, and you with your scarf and 10 layers, you're saying that I'm crazy. This much it goes. I went to school with my young kids, in primary school, and I went to school in wintertime. In shorts, it's freezing in the Dutch winters. It's like Scotland. It's freezing. So you go. I went I say, make of your winter a summer. So act like this summer, and then you are done. That's the philosophy. The rest is doing. So you do it. You go in shorts, open sandals, a t-shirt to school. And I was doing handstands in the schoolyard, waiting for the kids come out, splits, jumping around, being alive. And the people at the side, the parents, smoking. So he's crazy. He is crazy. He is crazy. And my children then, they told me, Pop, act normal, act normal. Act normal. Act normal. I said, no. I just kept on doing it because it felt good. I felt strong, had no money, just felt strong and happy. I needed no money. I just needed to be the way I was. And that finally resulted into the groundbreaking for the science. Yeah. And I flabbergasted all the TV world. And now they are going to make a Hollywood film about this. And you know what? The beautiful thing they're going to make in the Hollywood film is not only to show that a simple man is able to make groundbreaking changes in medical understanding and science. Not only the pharmaceutical industry, the way it works upon our physiology and psychology, and then physiology, of course, is so that a natural method of one person, they don't come through. Even when I went in 2014 to scientists and show for the first time in medical history how to tap into the autonomic nervous system and immune system, both, but not a little bit, big time, and then showing it with 12 people, publishing in the best of papers of the world, and then they don't take it up because the industry doesn't make money. What I do doesn't make money. And let me tell this to the viewers. Let me tell this to the viewers. Guys, you got it all. Make sure you get it all. You get it all.
Change isn't easy. Guys like Einstein, Edison, yourself who've changed the world. It isn't easy. People laugh, people ridicule. How did it affect your kids when you were doing all that stuff and they were growing up? Even though you were doing the right thing, it felt right for you, but everybody else in their small box made you feel crazy. It made your kids feel as if the dad was a weird one, when really they're smoking, drinking, taking drugs, probably fucking around.
Yeah.
For me, how did that affect you and the kids? How did that affect the kids?
Yes, there's right now those daughters. You know, daughters are extremely sensitive.
Yeah, I have a daughter at 10.
So you know, at that age. And now they have become instructors in the method that bears their father's name. And they are both graduates from university and everything. One has done psychology, other one did 2 masters. And they are kind of bright girls in society. But they know now that what happened before is the bullshit going on right now. And what we are really all about, they love their workshops because they see people change. They feel people change. And it all comes back. It's so much healing, so much love going on. And this of course, they had a shattered belief about love because their mother jumped from 8 stories down. But now in the psychiatry, my daughter is a psychologist. In psychiatry, I went with her to Detroit, Wayne State University, and I showed in the brain scans to go so deep at will into the brain, which was unprecedented deep. And then the professors, they told, this is a transformational technique that will change mental health care. That is number 1. That is big already. Man, I'm talking mental disorders, any kind. Any kind. At least ask yourself, is this possible, what he is saying? What it is must be full of shit. Check me out, please. Check me out. And if you then find the answers through what you have been checking out, just through objectivity, then help those who need it. Yeah,
it's funny though, a lot of pressure from the outside noise and other people can put you back into your very small box. And if you didn't, this is why it's important for people watching. Consistency is key. If you believe in something so much and you don't care, if you're not, as long as you're not hurting anyone, then stay true to you, stay true to your passion. I think people can get caught up in relationships, jobs, and think that's the final piece of the puzzle in life, and realistically they've stopped working on themselves. This is why I think people struggle so much, because they're not fulfilling that potential that they have, the greatness to make changes in the world. You've changed the world.
Exactly.
Anybody can do it, and that's
Yeah.
such a powerful thing.
Hey man, I'm so simple.
Yeah.
I'm a simple guy, and you see me. I could be a hobo somewhere in the street, being ignored by everybody, asking for money. You know, that's me. But no, it's something else behind the disguise. And the thing now is that what we bring it for everybody in the world through the science, and it's test out, it's simple, it's very effective.
So, what's the benefits then for cold water exposure for people just starting off, getting in a shower or getting in a cold bath or getting into the icy lakes? What's the health benefits?
There are many benefits. The principle is of cold. A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. That is the simple one. The other one is we have 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels inside. Very primitive ones like capillaries, and then you have arteries and you have veins. They are all connected to the heart. We all know. Killer number one was cardiovascular related diseases in society. Why? Because all the cardiovascular related system and related organs and everything are very bad exercised. They contain millions of little muscles to help the blood flow go through. But because we wear clothes all the time, we destimulate. We have a destimulative kind of behavior, conditioned. So the muscles don't work as much. Who's got to pay for that? Your heart. Your heart needs to pump more to get the blood flow through, because the tone of the muscles in the vascular system, that means the millions of little muscles, they are not helping as much. So if you go into the cold shower, what happens? These little muscles begin to work. They begin to be stimulated. What happens more, if you do this regularly, then the heart rate goes down with 20 to 30 beats a minute, 24 hours a day. And that means that there is no stress anymore. Besides of that, all the little muscles begin to work and help the blood flow, less stress, and the energy, because the vascular system is a transportation system of the blood flow. It reaches much better the cells. And thus you get a lot more nutrients, oxygen, and vitamins into the cells. That means a lot more energy. So much more energy and much less stress. That's the result of a cold shower a day.
Yeah. How you hold your breath? You could hold your breath for 7 minutes underwater. Is this correct?
Yes. But it's not about competition.
Yeah.
Anybody. If my oldest participant is 98 years old. She loves it. She loves it so much. She told me. I told it my sister, 96 years old. And they are doing it. And so many people, older people, this is the principle of the rabbit. All the life you go, until you die, you should be able, like the rabbit, to flee, fight, and to find food. Isn't it? That is normal. What we see now in the elder homes, etc., people stashed away with 20, 25 kinds of medicines, staring in front of a TV, waiting until the agony of death is setting in. What kind of life is that? It's not there. What we should do every day is reminding, I say, die once a day. Learn to fully live is where the fear of dying, of the quality, the inequality of living is no longer there. This is what I learned when I swam under the ice. I lost sight because my cornea froze. I had no goggles on. Under the ice, swimming, and suddenly I couldn't see where I was going. And there was a meter of thick ice beyond. I swam. I swam twice the record distance and more, 113 meters. 50 was it at that time. The other day I had to do that. It was a piece of cake because I got out alive. Why? I kept on swimming, trying to find the hole. And then a diver, finally, almost swimming and sleeping. There I was. I never had felt the agony of drowning being that claustrophobic situation, ice cold water in my breath hold, no fear, no nothing. When they brought me back to the 50-meter hole, the first thing you get, where was everybody? But I did it. And there, at that moment, I had a peak, absolute peak into a fearless state of being. We don't die. I found the way we think about dying, it all ends over there, and that's why we have fear. But that's wrong. We have to go deeper to understand that fear is bullshit. That we live forever and that we have a purpose here in this life to fulfill the soul itself and to make it understand, instead of what we're doing now with the world, serving people who gain too much money and who are abusing, corrupting, polluting the world, the cruelty in the world against animals and people, war zones, disease and all. It is not necessary. It's time for change. And I went into nature and I found, through going into the extremes, following my feeling is my guide. Do not force. There is no force needed. Your feeling will show you are capable of so much more. And at least to realize the soul, who you are and what you are. And that is love. It's driven by love. It's a fearless state of being. And that is what I want to teach my children, your children, everyone I love.
So you have nearly died fighting for this.
Oh, a couple
belief.
of times. Couple of times, yes.
Death, like people do fear death, and that's fear. It's what controls the world, and you don't know what it's like before you're born, so you're not going to know after death. We're constantly searching. When you're a searcher, I'm a searcher. I'm at the beginning of my journey. I know I'm going to change the world at some point. I believe I'm doing the steps to do that. I've yet to find. I do what I love. I found my passion. I believe something bigger is going to come. I just need to keep working on myself. When you got scientifically proven, when you eventually said that this man is changing lives, you broke down, you started crying. Why?
Yes, of course. It's finally after 40 years of not being recognized, after 40 years of misery, after 40 years carrying your grief alone, you get finally a recognition of a world which was always blaspheming me, saying that I was an idiot, crazy, and I should go on, don't stick with your feelings. It's not important. What is important is to produce, to have a career, to have a position better than somebody else, to gain money and to gain more money, and that's it. So all that was a feeling at that moment that broke down just through those words of that doctor. It's amazing what happened. And I said, something good has happened. Namely, the suppression of my own being went down. And at the same time, I was able, if I'm able to do this, I can bring it on for others. That there is more than meets the eye, and now it's time that it is getting in our sight. Tangible, strong, effectively there. That's my method, that's my mission. And conversations like this brings and sheds light.
Was that a release,
right over there?
Was that a release for you, Wim? All the years of getting called the
Oh,
black sheep, all potentially getting verbally abused, mentally abused, called crazy.
Oh, yes.
Was that a release to say, not as if to say, fuck you, I told you so, but look what
Oh,
I've
yeah,
done.
no, I'm quite humble about that. Only humble about that. Because I know a lot more people are suffering. And let us now give the example. If I can get out, and I'm a simple guy, really. I have no schooling, not really, no real schooling. But life has taught me. And now I'm better than anybody and anything. What is that? No, I'm the simple guy. But now I'm freed. I'm freed of my suppression. And I stay simple. I stay humble because what is happening is great. And I want to see in the greatness every day. And this is what I want to share with everybody who is suppressed right now.
The pineal gland, Wim, the seat of the soul, they call it, which is in the middle of the brain, and it gives you like higher powers to certain things. Is cold water, does this help the pineal gland?
Yes, absolutely. Why? Because the adrenal axis will be turned on, and it resets the blood chemistry deeply, and it cleanses it. Once it is cleansed, it will take away that what is wrongly built up through acidity, through a long standby of those parts of the brain, then becoming acidic and then becoming petrified, calcified.
Fluoride.
Yes, and now through these breathing techniques and going into the cold, you learn to change the biochemistry, make it absolutely alkaline. Then the adrenal axis is activated, and they reset the body toward the way Mother Nature meant it to be. That means clean, cleansed, deeply within the lymphatic system, and also the neural activity at will, all 100% within our brain. That means then the blood flow is able to follow with alkaline blood, and that decalcifies the pineal gland. And then anything that is needed to solve trauma, that is the purpose of dimethyltryptamine, DMT, is able to get to you or to whatever needs to be done. The trauma could be an accident, the trauma could be the loss of your wife, your child, this or that. It does not matter. It's there at your will, present to help you.
Climbing, not Ben Nev, what's the climbing Mount Everest?
Yeah.
On your shorts by the danger zone. What was the thinking behind this? And did you get scared at any point?
No. No. I remember a couple of things. Of course, the first was, nobody had done it. So you go into the unknown.
Does that turn you on a bit? Like, no, it's never been done before.
Always, man. Always. I now figured that out with my wife. That's a joke, guys. But the thing, going into the Mount Everest, I just thought by myself, first they did it with oxygen and clothes. Then they did it without oxygen, but with clothes. Let me be the one who is doing it without clothes and without oxygen. Just, shorts. And that's what I did. And I went there, and the whole alpinistic world was upside down, and a man goes this way, and he is planning to go, and I did. What I found on Mount Everest, on the height of 6 kilometers about, was me being alone, because I was just too fast for the people. I'm very sportive, very athletic. Just being with nature, not in sports competition. Nature makes me the best of me. And there I had set out with the mindset, I want to do this. So then you get a drive inside. You grow while you go. And I went. But then snow came. And I was there, and there is no paths. There's only ice and ice, snow, white, it's cold, and that's it. And the rest you have to find out while going. But there I was, in a white out suddenly, in my shorts, in a white out, on that height, with less than half the oxygen. I found the way. I didn't feel this paranoia. I didn't feel anxiety. I felt, hey, I'm okay. I don't see anything, but I'm okay. I feel okay. I'm connected. I got my drive. I go. I just go. 3 hours later, I found myself in the advanced base camp at 6,400 meters. And I was received by Tibetans, and they were, I think they have been looking to a person like the Yeti. like a pilgrim coming out of their whiteout in his shorts. That they served me tea and all those things, and then later that was the greatest moment on Mount Everest for me, because I found out I had no paranoia, no anxiety while being amidst a whiteout. And that was the greatest of discovery.
Do you think you find yourself more, Wim, when you're with yourself, when you are alone, do you think you find who you really are? Because
Yes.
we surround ourselves with too many people. We've got noise from radio, TV,
Oh, yeah.
social media. Do you think you find your true purpose when you spend more time alone?
Yes, of course. But right now, talking to you, we get to insights. We get to a conversation I never had. And it's beautiful. The light which is shining right now between us is beautiful. And the light coming from the neurology of talking this way is saying this is common sense and this is going to the deepest. This is giving new insights. We are helping the people. We are like in the tribe, and we solve any problem that is coming up in this conversation, and we will solve it because the nature of our mind is capable of doing that if we only go past our fears. And that's what we do. So that is nice. That is great. I love it. For the rest, if I feel bullshit, I just go out. I'm sitting 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the ice water. Then I shut up inside. It shuts up. And then you are just there. And that's who you are and what you are.
Yeah. So going through all that, all the trauma you've been through, all the pain and misery, you're still human. You'll still battle that shit every day. You just handle it better than everyone else. So
Yes.
going through all the records you've broke, changing the world, proving that everything is within, proving that your belief can change whatever the fuck you're thinking. You can change the way you think, the way you feel, the way you talk, the way you act. If you ain't happy, you can't be happy. You're living proof of that. Many other people are.
Yes, man.
So going forward for the future, what's plans for Wim Hof? What is other goals that you want to take it? Where's the levels you want to go?
I want this method all over globally.
In schools?
In schools. I want children to teach, to be taught happiness, strength, and health. No more only the bullshit, how to fit in a society that is sodomizing the planet. It's going to be over. It's inequality going on, and it's ruling us. A system, a hierarchy where a couple of people are earning 10,000 times more than somebody else. What makes them a one person and the other to have 10,000 times more needed than this person? That is a system that doesn't work. It doesn't. They are not brighter or anything. They are just sneaky, able to manipulate that system in a way that it all comes to. And where is the energy coming from? From all those. Because there is no more energy than the amount of people in the world. That's logic. And so that is represented into money. Money is only a symbol of what is the energy in all the people. And that's why we have poverty. That's why we have starvation. Because we are thieves. The guys who are ruling over us. And those are the criminals. And those people, they kill and nobody sees it. But we are going to open those eyes. If I have a mission, it's not me anymore. I don't need to play with the Mount Everest no more to see what I'm capable of. Now I will use my mind and my heart to bring justice to the world through the schooling, where children get to learn about happiness, strength, and health, to never lose the core of their wealth, insight, ever anymore. And when it happens in a society, you got to work, you got to do this, you got to do burnouts and autoimmune disease and cancer and shit happens. No. This is what Dave Asprey asked me in his podcast. Wim, I never asked this, but how to reach enlightenment? And I told him, okay. And please put it in one sentence. Hey, shit, man. They put Bibles, Qurans, and all those things, with all these scriptures. I say, keep it simple. Yeah, I got it. Just be happy, strong, and healthy, because the rest is bullshit. And that bullshit, nobody should be satisfied with in any way. Not succumb to it, not being suppressed. It's bullshit. It's not yours. You are identifying with bullshit. And that's why you feel shy and feel timid. And others are able to manipulate you because you have no control over your own mind. And now we are showing you own your own mind. We have the tools, We talk about it like two guys. They talk, they stand up, they say something is wrong here. Let's find out. That is the ability of nature given to us through speech. And that's what we do, a common sense speech. The wise are talking. We are leading because we have no fear. We want to solve in the love for all those who are suffering. That's what we do. So what I'm doing the rest of my life, what you are doing as well. We bring common sense, love back to our families. Manifest like a rock.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
What's your daily routine like, Wim?
Start the day with a good breathing session. Because the breathing session, it has shown in the university to alkalize the blood. That means acidity is out there. That means that the performance is going to be a lot better when the blood is alkaline.
You do this as soon as you're up. I read an article that the first hour of your day and the last hour of your day is your most creative. I also read that Tibetan monks, or women, I think, nuns also, when they done the breathing techniques, they wrapped wet clothes over them. They done the breathing techniques and visualised themselves drying the clothes. Their body temperature went up and they actually dried. The clothes went dry.
Yeah.
Do you do that first thing in the morning?
All these things. We don't need to.
Do you visualise when you do it?
Yeah. We don't need to go into visualizations and all that. There is a big margin. Just do a little bit of breathing. Take the cold shower. And you are able to understand the depth of yourself. You get a control over your mood. The mood regulation is done through these breathing techniques and the cold shower. And at a certain moment, you are able to go and swim in cold, natural bodies of water. Like this swimming pool there, what you see there, that one I never use in the summer. I only use it in the winter. And I love it. And sometimes I go into the lakes and into the rivers because I'm not shy. My condition of my vascular system is just right there. When you are able to take on the cold shower on a regular basis, you are able to take on stress. And that's the world. You want to know how to deal with stress of the world? And bacterial stress and viral stress and emotional stress, mental stress, work stress, etc. The congestion, this and that. Learn to handle yourself. Go into the cold shower. You learn your psyche to direct to inner power, the adrenal axis activation, becoming strong. While nobody sees something, you have the ability to change yourself to become stronger in a second, just by thought. And that is done through the cold shower. Going back, cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. And some breathing, deep breathing, makes your body alkaline. Great preparation for much more outcome than normal in the day.
How's your eating, Wim?
I eat once a day. I didn't eat until...
Is that the 5 hour thing?
Yes.
5 hour window?
Yeah, about. Not even. 2 hours is enough.
Is it vegetarian, vegan?
Yes, it is.
So plant-based kind of stuff. Have you ever heard of a thing called sun gazing?
Yeah. I did that 50
I've done
years
it for
ago.
Many years, yeah. So I watch a lot of stuff about India. People think I'm crazy for doing this, but everything that's grown from this universe, trees, fruit, veg, is grown from the sun. It's the sun's reserves. So if you look directly at the sun, an hour before sunrise, an hour before sunset, I can look at the sun anytime now. So if you do that, but an hour before sunset, an hour before sunrise, it will align everything back in your body. They say if you look at the sun for over half an hour, it will cure you all disease as well.
Whoa.
They say people can go blind by looking at the sun. That is a myth. Nobody's ever went blind by looking at the sun. But don't look at that. Build up the eyesight, build up.
Gradual.
Like the ice, cold shower
like
stuff.
Gradual cold exposure.
So it's
gradual
good
exposure.
That we touched on that. People look into it. There's many things about it on YouTube about sun gazing. I believe it's powerful as well. It can maybe change lives. But
I loved it when I was doing it for hours when I was younger. Was doing it, and now still I'm doing it. I love this sound.
Yeah.
The contact. With the
can see the aura.
Visual cortex.
You can see the aura.
The aura, it becomes blue.
Yeah.
And then you're just feeling it. It's amazing. And yes, vegetarian because the phyto power is still within the plants. It directly receives the sunlight.
Yeah.
So it's there. And in animals, it's indirect. They eat the plants, so they already digested the sun power.
Yeah.
So we think meat, but meat in the end is very it needs a lot of processing inside. It's a wrong diet. It's a wrong diet.
For people watching, people whose life has beat them down, maybe lost a loved one, battling depression, maybe got addiction issues, what advice would you give for them? What maybe tools and techniques would you give for them for people to go, do you know what? Because people will watch this and it will trigger something in someone's mind and they'll go, fuck it, I want change.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for them?
First of all, we have shown through science already that we as humans have a much deeper possible control within. That the industry, etc., is treating us only with pills and dependency on therapies and psychiatry and all that. It's not necessary. You, with your breath, with these breathing techniques, and we got a free app for that to show you to have an absolute sense of control, you within. Unprecedented, much. And then you will feel, a feeling is the understanding. Once you get to that feeling, then, oh shit, I never felt this. And then you don't need too many words. You want to get rid of the shit. And that shit is going to go because you're going to adopt an absolute sense of control. Try out the free app.
What's it called?
It's I don't know what it is called. It's on my website.
Yeah, the Wim Hof app,
and they develop it every month. Possibly the Wim Hof Method app or something.
Yeah.
And I don't use it because I developed it. It's logical, you know. But I tell you, the shit works. The shit works, and it's good, and it's scientifically endorsed. I can talk in English. I can talk in French about it. You know, it's good shit.
So yeah, for the people watching, just get involved with the Wim Hof Method. What's your social media and stuff? Just Wim Hof on Instagram, YouTube. You've got so many videos and documentaries. The very first one I watched was on Vice. Was powerful. I like that young boy, just decent guy. So we've moved on to everything for the future. We've touched on a lot of things. Would you like to finish up on anything yourself, brother?
Man, just keep on the work and the common sense. Bring it together with your beautiful accent. I love the Scots way, you know. In the Highlands, I think we have reached the Highlands here.
Yeah, definitely. Wim, for coming on today, brother, and telling your story, it's very much appreciated. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. I believe you've only just scratched the surface. You've got a lot more to come.
Yes.
I'll be following your journey till as long as we're on this planet.
We will bring the soul to everybody who needs it.
So the last question, do you still get cold?
Yeah, of course. But don't tell nobody.
Thank you, brother.
Good.
God bless you.
Oh, right
Take
on,
care.
right on.
Check out more of my podcasts on the right and be sure to like, share and comment your thoughts on this week's podcast. Thank you.